Donavon Lee Carpenter. Welcome, my friend.
Oh, it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, the honor is mine. We've been talking for a little while now, and it is just, it's so cool to have you, because I've been listening to your album, and it's so neat to listen to somebody's work and then just kind of get to meet them and find out what inspired them, and that's kind of the purpose of this show. So thanks for stopping in. I know you were on the road and you're touring a lot, and we'll talk about some of that. And plus, I mean, the weather is terrible tonight.
Yeah,
so.
that's all right. Yeah.
But pretty soon you're heading. I mean, tomorrow you're back heading down south. What do you got going on?
Yeah, headed back to Nashville to kind of recoup and regenerate and get ready for the next round of music going out.
Nice. And what brought you in the area tonight?
Well, we came up for a benefit show for the YDC in South Haven. Brooke had put together a great youth development center, and we did some benefit music for them last night, raised some money for them to get their YDC off and running and helping the young kids of the community.
Man, that's excellent. So, speaking of, pardon me, you're a very, we were talking earlier, and you're a very helpful kind of person. The reason you started playing music, obviously, is because you love music.
Sure.
But as part of that, you've headed a project, and I kind of mentioned it earlier in the show. Can you tell us a little bit about that project for veterans?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we're really excited. I didn't know that it landing the number one song on the disc, but it's really shaped up to prove our message forward. Donavon Lee Music, in partnership with For the 22, is highlighting military mental health and suicide prevention of discharged soldiers. The statistic is 22 kill themselves a day. And
wow.
We vow to raise awareness to not let that 23rd feel like they're on a lonely road. It's truly in living with a grateful heart in service of others. Takes us outside of ourselves, giving us the ability to see opportunity ahead. And that's what I think this song is really shaping up, is to be a platform for a message that those afflicted by PTSD or traumatic events have hope and at least have a path forward to start to realize that they're not the only one on that road. We are truly all there together.
That's amazing. Thank you, especially on Veterans Day. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for all the soldiers that have put before us and that are active today. So,
and does this want to help in this way come from something personal in your life?
Oh, absolutely. For me, I talk about me being what's represented as a dream put on a shelf collecting dust over the years. Had kids early, had military service, had jobs, careers, all those things took me away from the dream. But now being able to focus and take that dream off the shelf and dust it off, I believe that it has given us a platform to spread a message. I truly believe that I liken it to my pity pot was bigger than anybody else's. And it wasn't until I found somebody else that was as knee-deep as I was. Right. And then that service of others allowed me to help someone else, which actually helped me to see the ability and the opportunities ahead.
Right. It is amazing how you when you see someone and they really do have it worse than you, if you can realize that and you can understand it, it does change your life. It does make you really thankful for it. You have everything,
Oh, sure. All through the years, I've gotten into some pretty big ruts, pretty deep ruts, and it was always the only way I was able to get out of some of those ruts was by helping someone out of theirs, and by them helping me helping them, we truly got back on that road to a future and success.
Man, that is great, and I wish you all the luck in the world and success, because that is such a positive message, and I'm a big believer in positivity. I think whatever it is that you see and you feel like you have to take on in your life with a positive attitude, it makes the world a difference for everyone around you and yourself. It changes you in a lot of ways.
Oh, sure, and I think that we as a nation and as a global community, I think we are seeing a lot of folks that we have knew something was wrong, something was going on, but then we had to hit that plane or we had to hit that meeting or pick the kids up, and we're just always too busy. And I think we at Donavon Lee Music, in partnership with For the 22, try to teach others that being the first responder in someone's life, if not your own, is truly in being there for someone in the moment, for the moment, because of the moment, is truly the way that we can be the first responder in someone's life. We all wait for that first responder to be the last resort in saving someone's life.
Right.
We contend that if you are there for someone that you know is struggling for the moment, in the moment, because of the moment, then you have become the first responder in their life by virtue, the first responder in your own.
And the very first song on the record, and the record is entitled Donavon Lee Carpenter. That's your first one.
Donavon Lee Project, yes sir.
The Donavon Lee Project. And the very first song is called Lonely Road. And would you say that it kind of encompasses all of those feelings we just talked about?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm excited to announce, we're releasing tonight on YouTube at 9/11 in honor of all first responders on 11/11 Veterans Day. The music video Lonely Road on YouTube, and that's really the first platform that as an independent artist have the ability or the platform to kind of get this message and movement out there. So if anybody knows or is a part of anyone in the military, but I also extend further than that because I truly believe that not just military, it's first responders, it's police officers, firefighters, medical technicians, CNAs, all those that are in that first responder role. I think this song is meant and hopefully lighten the load for them some, that we can all take at least some ownership in being the first responder in our own lives, if not someone else.
That is perfect. And we're going to segue right into Lonely Road for everyone out there in need on their lonely road.
Her mind was broken, hurting inside for a long time now. She tried her best. And many nights she felt so alone. No one was there, so she thought so, but it's too late now. No one answered her pain. It's a lonely road when
I love that riff at the end there.
Thank you.
Yeah, oh, no problem. And do you, lyrics and song, did you write the entire structure of that song?
Now, in this one, no, Shanda Hopkins, a young lady out of Newfoundland,
Wow.
heard about my message and some of the stuff I was working on and sent me the original version of that song, and was really having a struggle getting her music outside of her little island of Newfoundland. And when I heard the song, we worked on it a little bit, shaping it a little bit for the country music box, if you will, on the radio ready kind of things. And I was just absolutely wrapped up in this song and saw the vision early on of what the power it can have.
That is amazing. And it's so cool. And we haven't talked about it yet, but collaboration is something I've talked about with other musicians that have come on. And it is really something, for me, I've always loved.
Sure.
It's amazing to get to work with somebody, because a lot of times it takes a long time just to find somebody that you click with,
Sure. Well, and sometimes it's the song itself.
Yes.
Again, I tell people, I love writing my own stuff, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I tell people, if it's a good story and I can tell it well, then we have a place to spread that message.
That is awesome. Man, I'm digging the whole project. This is so cool, man. So you said you've got a video coming out right at 9/11. So after the show at 9/11 tonight, I'll be on the road, probably trying to get home somehow.
Me too.
Yeah, you too, man.
Yeah, it's okay.
But any out there, if you're listening, which a lot of you are, and I appreciate that, tonight at 9/11 on YouTube. And how can they find it? Just look up your name?
Yeah, Donavon Lee Carpenter Music
Okay.
on YouTube. Yeah.
And now this is not your first video, is it?
And remember, I spelled my name a little bit different,
Yes,
so
you
pardon
do.
me about that, guys. It's Donavon.
Yes.
So my mom thought I was special, so she put that A in there. But
That's what moms are for.
But yeah, we actually released our first music video, Stomping Ground, a couple of months ago, or about a little over a month ago, and are getting a whole lot of success from it, and with Lonely Road, all of you that are around local here, it was shot right here in South Haven by Rob Bird at Moondog Productions. He heard the song, heard my vision of what the kind of video I wanted to, and he absolutely hit the nail on the head with this video. And I think it's truly powerful to show the impact that we have on each other.
Wow, that's amazing. And now the song "Stomping Ground," you were telling me that it is #1 on the European charts. What is that? Where is that?
It's hit. It was on hit #1. I can't remember the date, but it's the European Academy of Country Music. I am fan-funded music, so I met a community of people that help like-minded individuals that help dreams come true in coolbrands.com, and they sent me to Nashville for a song that I wrote for their company, Cooler Brands Anthem. But behind that was they got behind me, and we got to put together a crowdfunding Kickstarter project that they were able to help me get funded, which I funded within 24 hours and ended up 400% funded. So it's fan-funded music is what I kind of talk about as being an independent artist. But Stomping Ground video was the first one that we were able to put together under that fan-funded project because they wanted to see the video and continued to help me get the funds together and the time to put it together. It was shot in Nashville also, and just it's my introduction, I guess, to the world in a music video as an independent artist.
Wow, that is really neat. We're going to play that song right now. This is "Stomping Ground" from Donavon Lee Carpenter.
Soon forget, way down south to the Friday night home crowd. We'll throw back a few and grab some barbecue. There's always something country going down. That's my stomping ground. Whoa, yeah, dirt roads around this town. Whoa, yeah, long man don't come around. bonfire's getting high. Someone go pick a fight. We might stay up all night, just like we used to do. That's my stomping ground. Whoa, yeah. Dirt roads around this town. Whoa, yeah. Oh man, don't come around now. Whoa, yeah. Let that tailgate down. Whoa, yeah. That's my stomping ground. Yeah, dirt roads around this town. Whoa, yeah, oh man, don't come around now. Whoa, yeah, let that tailgate down. Whoa, yeah, that's my stomping ground.
Oh yeah, it feels so good right here on the Open Mic Show on WHFB. Hopefully that one warmed you up. We're going to hear a few words from our sponsors, and then we'll be back in the studio with Donavon Lee Carpenter. We return to the Open Mic Show on WHFB. I'm your host, Mike Talbot. I am in the studio with Donavon Lee Carpenter. Man, I'm having such a great time tonight. It's so cool to have another great artist in here. We have been talking, if you are just showing up, and so we were just talking about video. That's so cool. You got video being released tonight. You've already had a couple of those done. This song, though, Stomping Ground, you said was your very first video, and that went #1 in Europe, the song as well, right?
Sure, yeah.
And then you also had another song go to #1 in Europe. Which was that?
Yeah, it was actually our first release. So the first 3 releases have all done very good, but the first release was Born to Love You after we got the record completed and released in December of last year.
Okay.
We used Born to Love You as our first single released as the introduction of Donavon Lee to the world, and it went straight to over in Europe. I think it was the top 10 for 10 weeks, top 5 for 5 weeks,
Wow.
and #1 for 2 weeks in a row. And it actually hit the top number 43, I believe, of the top 125 best wedding songs of 2019. So that was real impressive, and I was just excited about that.
Yeah,
Being our
kidding.
first release, just having so much success as an independent artist it's
Yeah, so,
amazing.
you know, let's talk a second about that, because I think that people didn't. We've talked, but they haven't really gotten to know you in the way that maybe they'd want to understand. You've worked your whole life.
Sure.
And what was it in the field of?
Yeah, and I was a millwright. We worked powerhouses, power plants. So I was a traveling worker for the last 20-25 years in a different state every month, turning wrenches, singing to old men greased up.
Yeah, but you definitely that kind of got you ready for
Sure.
life on the road for sure.
They were the roughest critics, I promise you.
Oh man, I'm not. Oh, of course. And man, it's always your friends and family, you know.
Yes.
You can have 100 people love you, and then you go play your family song, and they look at you like, "Yeah, what's for dinner?" You know,
Yeah, right.
You're like, okay, well, that keeps you humble, you know.
It does, and it honed the craft.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so this song, "Born to Love You," went #1, and then, so how did you wind up winning the Josie Award? Well, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, again, that's exciting. Again, it's part of that fan-funded that I am. It's all of my fans. I would not have been introduced to radio or internet radio or the world, really, had it not been for those heroes that I call her, that are my fans, that really stepped up and taking some of the load of the social media side of the world that I just don't have time for. And they really have been instrumental in letting people know what we have to offer. And again, that's why I always say we, because my company is, yes, Donavon Lee Music, and it's my pretty face on the package, but
Sure.
It truly is all of the fans that are a part of my fan FAN page, the fan network. It truly is powerful that the fans are the ones moving this music forward, not the money in Nashville or the money in programming and all of that. It's truly the fans are asking for this message to be sent out. That's why I'm working so diligently to try to get this message out, and the music too. It's fun, but
Sure.
but it's all about the fans, and I would not be here without their support and them introducing me to other personalities on radio that would find out about me and want to talk. So, like we're doing today.
It's amazing.
And it was a fan that turned us on to each other.
Yeah, he said,
Yeah.
you know what, man, I've been listening to the show, and he said, you've got to listen to this guy. And I was like, absolutely, I love that, because people just keep handing me CDs now.
Sure.
And I've always been a big fan. I've run open mics for years around here, and this is kind of cool for me, because this is I'm able to pull all sorts of different people in from everywhere. That is kind of what an open mic is like,
Sure, and as independent artists, I mean, we value what you're doing, because we could never afford to kind of do these things if it's not on the independent side of the world.
Sure. And it's important. I feel like this interview is important, because what you're actually explaining to people out there is how they might have their music heard. Because ultimately you have some amazing accolades, and you've only really been at this for 8 months. I think that will blow people's minds. When was the album finished?
December 1st. Well, we released in December 1st. I think it was October, November when we finally wrapped up the masters. But
wow.
Yeah.
How long did it take you, the whole record?
Oh, you don't want to know that.
Oh no, was it a long?
No.
Really?
I had the fortunate opportunity to work with Larry Beard and the Beard Music Group out of Nashville, and
absolutely,
you talk about professional musicians, and I walked in that day and we booked the session for the whole day and said, hey, I want to get as many as we can today, and they heard the songs that I had to offer and to bring, and they just brought everything they had with this record. And I tell you, it's amazing when people get behind not just music to put something out, but music with a message. I think is the platform that we're finding much success on. So.
And will these group of musicians be traveling with you when you play?
Oh, I could never afford them guys. They're the talent in that house is no, they're studio musicians, but a couple of them I've tried to entice outside of the building, but we'll see.
Do you do a lot of, so when you're playing live and you're doing shows, do you have a band with you? Are you doing mostly solo stuff right now, or? Mostly
solo now because I'm independent.
Yeah.
We do put together some big production shows that I do bring the band in out of Nashville. Mostly. We like to bring in also local talent. If we go to a city, say Chicago or Dallas or Charlotte, try to pull in someone local that just to give them the opportunity that we've had.
That's nice, man. That's great. I know a lot of professional bands do that. I know people who have sat in with keyboards and guitar and all sorts of really cool situations.
Yeah, it's fun.
Eddie, what's one of the coolest bills you've been on?
Golly, that's Mandalay Bay was a pretty big one for me.
Yeah.
Mandalay Bay in Vegas on the Nashville Unplugged show. It's a songwriter round robin. You get to, it's more than just a show, really. We get to tell the story behind the song, and people seem to really enjoy that intimate show now. And I think we're starting to build our production towards that, that intimate 50 or so people, so that they can really get the message behind the music, not just an evening now out of loud music.
No, that's, perfect. Because what you're saying is, and it's so important, you're playing for the audience. Right, instead of being annoying, which is...
Ultimately, we're hoping that we provide hope, we provide heartstrings to be able to pull on, just to invoke, champion someone to chase their dreams or chase what they believe in. It doesn't have to be music, just any dream. Chase it with all you got, because you never know when you're going to catch it.
I love that, man. This song that also went #1 in Europe is Born to Love You. What inspired you?
Yeah, this and Jacqueline Holmes, another Canadian, sent me this song, and she was at a wedding and heard the bride say, "I was born to love you," which sparked into her the inspiration to tell this story. And as I was shopping and looking at songs to put on this record, I really was taken by this song, and I asked Jacqueline, can we please rework this a little bit and let me tell this from the groom's side of perspective. And hopefully, we're still working on it, but I think Jacqueline and I are going to get together and kind of tell this story from both sides in another way. But yeah, to be able to take this story written as a bride's perspective and then really take it to a groom's perspective, I think really opens up the conversation of how, just how special those people are in your life,
Right.
and absolutely born to love them.
This is Born to Love You by Donavon Lee Carpenter.
In the snow on the top of Blue Mountain Hill, frost on your breath, I can still feel the chill as you kissed me. Wasn't that cold for trembling hands? I was stumbling, falling, trying to stand when I fell on my knees. That's when you saw me. What would you think of the rest of your life by my side? I said loving you is easy, like breathing, and the feeling when you know to follow through. This is bigger than I do. I was born to love you. You keep me waiting on your silly punchlines, always on my toes, but that's just fine by me. I'm always gonna be your closest friend. We'll be slapping high fives until the end, whenever that will be. I hope eternity. I can't wait to spend the rest of my life by your side. Loving you is easy, like breathing, and the feeling when you know to follow through. Your love is all I'm needing, and I'm thinking you're seeing this thing from my point of view. This is bigger than I do. I was born to love you and all your little quirks. Even when I'm being a jerk, my country music, our long road trips, your dog named Chops, every single day. Loving you is
Born to Love You by Donavon Lee Carpenter, right here in the studio live on the Open Mic Show. This is WHFB and I am Mike Talbot. We're going to hear from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. Donovan's going to play us something live and tell us a little story about that song. Man, he is loaded with cool stories. Hope you've been catching it. If you haven't had a chance, or you know somebody who's interested in hearing this later on, podcasts are being edited, and we will keep you posted so you can check it out at any time. Here's a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back. We are live right here on WHFB, the Open Mic Show. I am your host, Mike Talbot, back in the studio with Donovan. Thanks, man, for being here tonight.
Oh, I'm honored. Thank you.
So we've been talking about so many things. You've really got a lot going on.
Yes.
And one thing that we touched on, you said you had done a pretty extensive tour. I asked you how much touring you did.
Sure.
And you were talking about something you had just done. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, last year, you know, when we started, again, that coolbrands.com company, they're like-minded individuals that help folks chase dreams. They helped me get to Nashville, and I got one song recorded. I got my first 6 because of their help down on tape, and needed that extra help to get that side B recorded.
Yeah.
So we, in our business, we're off in the summers and winters. So summer hit at that time, and my wife and I said, let's just jump in the motorhome and let everybody around the country know that we're coming. All we need are 20 or more people with donating hearts, because all we need is fuel and sandwiches to get to the next show, you know. And we were able to put together, because of the fans reaching out to us, telling us, we want you here, let's help. We were able to put 29 shows in 29 cities in 9 weeks last summer.
Wow.
We were able to go, I think, 16,000 miles. We truly went from coast to coast, both east and west, north and south, and we were able to raise enough money because of that to go back into the studio and finish the production of Side B of Donavon Lee Project, and that's what started our movement towards our release in December. So
That's amazing. And while you were on the road, did you do some writing while you were there?
Oh yeah. That's this song. The next song is another beat song. I stopped by a buddy of mine, Casey Carpenter. He's one of my songwriters' friends, and we were just had a night to stop over before we got to the next show. And he asked me, he said, "You know anything about this tropical Americana genre?" I said, "Well, sure. You know, Kenny and Jimmy and Zach Brown and the Beach Boys, that kind of stuff."
Right.
And he said, "Yeah, man, have you ever thought about it?" I said, "Man, I'll try it. Let's see what we can come up with." And so that's how we got to starting another beach song. And I think it was an hour later, we just knew we had something special that has actually introduced me to the kind of a trop rock genre. The Sun and Sand and the Parrot Head and the Party with a Purpose just falls in line with kind of my message in the music, and just falling in love with these guys and this kind of sound, and singing about sun and sand and
Oh man,
kind of stuff. So I kind of like that, especially on a cold day like today.